Hello everyone. Thank you for checking out today's video. I would really appreciate it if you could leave a like and subscribe. Let's get started. What is the most bizarre reason a customer got angry with you? I think I've told this story once in a post somewhere else, probably with one of my old accounts. I used to work deli for a New England grocery chain, working in Vermont. Working in one of the bigger stores meant that we would often be loaned out during ski season to small stores with big holiday booms. It was very busy for them, about normal for my store. I was slicing cheese for a woman who got real angry that I hadn't stacked her cheese perfectly straight, which blew my mind. Who expects deli sliced cheese to be stacked perfectly? The story has a happy ending though. Her exact indignant words were, "Where I'm from in New York they stack the cheese perfectly straight." And the guy behind her, a regular the local employees had greeted by name, piped up and said, "Well then maybe you should go the fuck back to New York." Best moment I've ever had at work. I used to live in New York and have never once been to a deli that stacked cheese perfectly straight. Wonder what magical instance of New York she lived in. A customer came in to buy hand sanitizer. She brought her bottle to the register to purchase it, saw there was some at the register, then proceeded to share her vast knowledge of swear words with great vigor with me, swearing she would never shop with us again. What? Clearly you should have known what she was there for, stopped her at the door, and let her know it can be found at the register. I mean, how lazy are you? I was working at a coffee and wine bar when I had a man scream at me because he ordered a regular and I didn't know what he wanted. It was my first time meeting him, which catastrophically aligned with the first time I was left to take care of the register alone. I couldn't get away from the yelling, "Where the hell do you think you're going?" in order to ask the people in the back what he wanted. His regular got written out, laminated, and pinned to the cash register after that. He kept screaming, "Do you know who I'm over and over?" Which, no sir, I do not know who you are. This is the first time we met. Also it turns out he was no one but a dick. It honestly astounds me that some customers think they are so special that we will remember their regular order despite seeing hundreds of people and talking hundreds of different orders a day. Like, I'll admit, I memorized like 3 out of every 150 orders because those people came in like clockwork daily, but I still can't understand the logic of going up to someone that you've also never seen before and expecting them to know what you want. LMAO, people are wild. Lady walked into my office asking for one of my colleagues. I explained to her that he actually works out of a different office, which is listed in his email signature and our website. She was upset as she had documents to drop off to him. I explained to her that his office is only 3 minutes down the street if she wanted to make the drive, or I could scan her documents and email them to him. She refused. So I said, "Well, you can leave them here with me and I can ask the guy to come pick them up tomorrow." She again said no because she didn't trust me. I explained that I'm the director of operations for the company, basically my colleague's boss. She then yells that she doesn't know me and this is extremely sensitive information and storms out. 1 minute later, she comes in and asks for my business card to prove I'm who I say I am. Lol. I give her one and she leaves her stuff with me and storms off again. Sometimes people yell that they know our company's CEOs and they'll get me fired. Things like Carmen is a good friend of mine and I'm going to have her fire you. Or I saw Mike in the warehouse and I'm going to march right up to him and tell him to fire you. The problem with this is always that A, Carmen is a guy and B, nobody ever knows where Mike is except Carmen and their assistant, and if people elsewhere in the company do know where Mike is, he's on vacation not halfway across the country fiddling with boxes point in a warehouse. My favorite was when a guy threatened to have me fired unless I reactivated his account because Carmen and I are good friends now, and I'm going to have him fire you because I'm meeting him in his office in about 20 minutes and he's waiting to sell me a truckload of mattresses. Okay, but A, I know Carmen threatened to sue you if you ever did business with us again, and B, Carmen's office is directly next to mine and he is not there and has no scheduled meetings today, and C, we do not have any truckloads of mattresses at the moment. I applied another discount to the total instead of the promoted discount to save her more money. Had to get into an argument with her just to explain I'm trying to save her more money. She wasn't having it. Pay more money, I don't fucking care anymore. Reminds me of when I was at Subway once and the lady in front of me ordered 2 6-inch meatball subs, and at the end the guy was like, let me ring that up as a single 12-inch to save you some money, and the lady lost her shit. Guy was like, right, okay, 2 6-inch meatball subs it is then. You're right. Who gave you permission to save me money? This lady at Walmart once got really pissed off at me because we didn't sell pasteurized eggs. And this wasn't allowed, screaming kind of pissed off. She just looked at me very intensely and spoke at low volume, over enunciating every syllable, and said, tell your managers to order pasteurized eggs. This other lady grabbed my arm and started pulling on me, telling me that the fact that we shut down our sewing department felt like we had killed her child, and that less and less people were going to come to Walmart because of stuff like that, and that we would have to close down. Did those sewing departments ever even count as open? I don't think I've ever seen anyone staffed there. It's pretty much just who the fuck ever decides to help. I used to work for Best Buy and Geek Squad, but would cover PC occasionally. I had someone get mad at me because the quality of Intel chips has been steadily going down, and they wanted me to give them a discount to buy an Intel laptop. They obviously knew it was a manufacturer's thing, as they even talked to me about how Intel is pushing their resources into quantum computing and not advancing current hardware the same way. Like, I can't just call someone at Intel and tell them to change their focus. I can't give you 20% off a new laptop because you dislike AMD and the price for performance doesn't really match anymore. This sounds like when my father-in-law started calling his son, who has a job in oil and gas, every time his gas prices changed. I worked at a Burger King in high school. A guy comes in one day complaining he put in money to get a newspaper in the machine outside, and it wasn't this Sunday's paper. He wanted a refund. I told him we didn't own that machine, and we weren't able to give him his money back. I also mentioned to him it was actually Saturday, not Sunday. He flew into a rage, threw last week's Sunday edition of the paper all around the restaurant and behind the counter. My manager comes out and threatens to call the cops. Dude leaves screaming about how we ripped him off. Sometimes you can't fix stupid. All that for $1.50? A woman and her high school daughter walk up to me while I'm working in Bath and Body Works. Here's how the convo goes. Mom, we don't know what they are called, but you know those things you can wear around your neck and you clip keys or badges to them? Do you sell those here? Me, oh, do you mean lanyards? Mom, what did you call me? Me, nothing. You said you didn't know what those things are called. They are called lanyards. Unfortunately we do not sell them here. Maybe check Hot Topic? Mom, whatever, thanks for wasting my time. As they turned to leave, the daughter turned behind her mom's back and mouthed, I'm sorry, to me. Poor girl, that mom was nuts. You lanyard. I used to deliver pizza. I had someone get irate and refuse the delivery because they'd ordered it to be delivered at 7 PM and I got there at 6:55. I hope you just stood there for 5 minutes refusing to hand it over till 7 exactly. They wanted a new pizza because they said the one I brought would be cold by 7 when they wanted to eat. I told them we'd have to bake a new pizza then and it'd be late. They opted for late. I ran a few more deliveries with their pizza in my backseat and went back around 7:30 with the exact same pizza, but told them it was a new one. They opened it to make sure it was hot and were happy with it. Then they called to complain about the experience. Then we had to update our order policy that if you specify a delivery time we can only guarantee a time range and not a specific minute. He got caught having his 4 and 6-year-old nephews hide merchandise under his wheelchair for the 3rd time. Mostly video games and controllers. He accused me of hating disabled people as he was being kicked out. I was just the cashier by the front door. Literally wasn't involved at all. Edit. I've noticed some common questions/thoughts and I'd like to clear them up. Q. How on earth did he steal games? Aren't they locked up? A. It's simple. My store sucked. The games were kept behind plastic doors that were too small for the shelf they were attached to. People found out pretty quickly that you could bend the plastic back and reach in and grab the items. Someone even stole a PS3 this way. Games and controllers that had the spider alarm were much easier to steal. Cameras are expensive and my store only kept them faced on where the expensive merchandise was displayed. So you could take the items, go to another part of the store, and then damage the crap out of the boxes to get around the spiders. Sometimes people would give up, and I'd come across the left behind mangled carcass of an iPod Touch. Coincidentally, my store also had the highest theft rates out of all the stores in the country. No idea why. /SQ. What do you mean, kicked out? Employees can't really do anything. You're right. We had security. I don't know exactly what all they could do, because I was just a lowly cashier, and I was not paid enough to care about anything. I just saw it was a big commotion with a lot of yelling, and somehow I got caught in the crossfire. I found out about the man's repeat offenses later as I was talking to my manager. What were you really doing to set him off? I've thought about this a lot today and honestly, I lead you guys astray. I wasn't an innocent party. The fact of the matter is, I made eye contact with the man. It's my mistake, and I own up to it. I'm sorry everyone. I remember being screamed at every time the cigarette prices went up. How am I supposed to afford that? I don't know, sir. I'm a 15-year-old girl. Note, this was 20 years ago. I think the law has changed, but at least at the time, yes, minors were allowed to sell tobacco products. And yes, as a 15-year-old girl, sometimes being yelled at did make me cry. I worked at a gas station in high school and was in charge of changing the prices on the sign outside. As I was using a 20-foot pole and suction cup and struggling to swap plastic numbers, I would get screamed at by people in their cars. "Ma'am, I'm a teenager, right on set gas prices for Royal Dutch Shell. And the prices are already set on the pumps. This sign doesn't control the oil market." Because I didn't open up shop an hour before opening time. Because he was here now, so open the store. He kept banging on the door and then threw a metal bucket at my head. Good times. We used to hide as if a psycho killer were trying to find us whenever a customer rocked up before opening hours. They're the worst. And they always say they don't mind that you're still cleaning / setting up / whatever, but they'd be the first to sue if they tripped over the cleaning supplies. She claimed that I was thinking bad thoughts about her, and the resulting negative energy was making her feet bleed. I wasn't thinking bad thoughts about her before that, but I sure as shit was after. You should have run with it. You're lucky that's all I'm making bleed.